Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, depending on what part of the world you are in. Hello, it's the Big Girl Diary. And this podcast is based on a question, an overarching or umbrella question, which is body shaming good or bad? I'll leave that up to you. I'll give you some examples, and then you can determine whether if it's good or bad. Okay. Now, before we go any further, I thought I would do a little Google search about defining body shaming, excuse me. Body shaming is the act of criticizing or mocking an individual for their body size or shape and generally being negative about the way an individual looks. Now, body shaming has been something that has gone on since the dawn of day. If somebody looked different from the average person, believe me, there was somebody there to shame them. It's just a fact. Now, within that definition, the word criticizing sort of jumped out at me, and whenever you criticize someone, not necessarily good or okay, I can't say good or bad, but there is some intention behind it, and normally it's normally negative. But constructive criticism, I believe, is better because you are pointing something out to a person, but you're also giving them the solution to whatever the issue that you pointed out. And I think that is something that more people should do instead of just simply criticizing. And 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 criticizing necessarily doesn't have to come from a negative place. It really doesn't, but most times it does. And also you got to stop and think about, why do people criticize? And the intent is important. We have to keep that in mind. The intent is very important. And I'm going to give you an example. This is an example of criticizing. About a few months back, maybe about 4 months ago, I was coming out of the grocery store, and I got out in front and sort of stepped to the side to adjust some of my groceries because I did self-service, and I never pack it the way it should be packed. Spatial, I'm not good with space. Anyway, as I was out in front, this gentleman comes up and he says, I want to ask you a question. And I have a good personality, great sense of humor. I'm like, oh, okay. What do you want to ask me? And he asked me, he said to me, can I give you a scale? What a hell of a thing to ask. And then he continued by saying, I have two scales, I can give you one. And I stopped and I looked at him like, where did this come from? And I asked him that, and he didn't answer, but I said, no, I have one. Then he continues by saying, I have an extra digital scale. That's going to make anything any better. It's a digital scale. And I said, thank you. I have that too. Now, okay, I was somewhat offended that he comes out and asks me, can I give you a scale? But to add insult to injury, I can give you a digital scale as if I cannot afford one. Well, let me not put that in his mouth because I'm not quite sure what his intentions were. Did he want to sit there and just say that to me to get a reaction because, I don't know, was his life empty? I highly doubt it was jealousy. Or maybe because he could just simply could. Because he could simply do it. That's what I sort of, boiled it down to, as far as that is concerned. Now, that is a form of criticizing. Now, constructive criticism is completely different. Let's say, for an example, a daughter says to her mother, "Mom, I'm concerned about your weight, and let's go walking through the park on the weekends. Let's go walk." She's expressing a concern, but also a solution. Constructive criticism. And, the person who receives it may not be ready to hear it, as I wasn't ready. Let me back up for a second. I wasn't ready to hear the guy criticizing me. Do you need a scale? I mean, I don't think anyone would have been ready for anything like that, just by the average person. And even constructive criticism can be taken much better, as the example that I gave with the daughter. Yeah. Now, as I alluded to earlier, why do people body shame? And I did say an empty life. I did say that, and within an empty life, there's nothing going on in someone's life, and they want to offend someone simply just because. I'm gonna say, can I give you a scale just because I can say it? Um, Out of jealousy, because I am a happy-go-lucky person, and when anybody who knows me would tell you, I'm a happy person. I have a great sense of humor, and I could go back and forth with the best of them. And just maybe seeing someone happy could make you want to shame someone, or simply bringing someone down. You're feeling down. I'm going to bring you down simply because I'm down, because misery loves company. Very true statement. Now, within body shaming, I looked at it from two perspectives. You have the interior person perspective, meaning within yourself, body shaming self, or exterior perspective, someone else is shaming someone else. And I gave examples of exterior perspective. Now, interior perspective is, there are times to where I would say something about my weight before someone else can, or make fun of myself to break the ice. There's some issues there. There are. Now, I'm not sure. Yeah, I'll go down this rabbit hole. Now, another interesting thing about body shaming is this new movement towards don't don't body shame. And I'm on the fence of that, you know, and the reason why I'm on the fence of it is when people say don't body shame that person because that person's obese or this, that, and the other, don't say that to them. I have to look at their intentions, as far as why they say that. Now, I remember, this was a while ago, and I was talking to this young lady, and in our conversation, I'm like, oh man, my knee hurts. Fat, I gotta get rid of this. She goes, oh, don't call yourself fat. You're not fat. You're chunky. You're big bone. And I looked at her, I said, no, 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 no. I'm a big girl, and I know that I'm fat. I can't live in delusion like I have been living for a long time. and I have to come out of this delusion that being my size is okay because my body's telling me is not okay. So I have to look at their intentions, because normally, not only normally, I gotta say 99.999999% of the time, it is someone who is normal weight or maybe a little bit overweight will say those things. And they're saying it from their perspective. Oh, don't body shame her. She's obese. She looks great. This, that, and the other. I have to really question their motives. I mean, it could be just, I'll leave it as that. Now, as I was, looking on the net, finding the definition to body shaming, I saw a couple of articles of Khloe Kardashian. Now, I remember over the years she was talking about how she didn't like the way she looked. So I'm not sure whether if that came about because she was body shamed, or what was her feelings about her body. Was it from the exterior person, or was it from the interior person? And I don't quite remember, but I just grazed through the article real quick. And within that, she had plastic surgery, and I'm trying to remember if the article, mentioned her having plastic surgery. But you could also look at her from what she looked from the very beginning when she was young, and I always thought she was pretty, to now she's still pretty, but you could also see the progressions of some of the things that she changed about her body. Now she's coming out talking about body shaming people, not body shaming the other people. I don't want to say that she's disingenuous. I don't, because that is a strong word. I don't know, maybe question her motives. I'm not quite sure. I don't know how to articulate it, but it makes me stop and it makes me pause, like, wait a minute. There were some things that you didn't like about yourself, and you're talking about self-love, love yourself for the way you are. Did you? Well, as the Poor Man Podcast says, the HBO special, well, I'm going to ask you for the HSO special, Help a Sister Out special. Please like the video. And if you like my content, or the beginning of my content, subscribe. Thank you for stopping by. Bye.